Sometimes no matter how much you explain it or try to share through examples, I think sometimes people just really have a stereotype about it and they aren't able to get past it. And I think they might not unless they really go through the experience, and that's okay.
In one class, I had a woman who was in menopause. I had another woman who had an autistic child. I had another woman who was a stripper, but now she isn't. I mean, every kind of woman. I mean, there literally is every kind of woman.
You don't even know you're taking it for growth until after it's over. You're like, wow, I think I grew. I'm Molly. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4. I learned to be more confident about myself and it's okay to be sensual and sexy. And after 14 years of marriage, that was really kind of key.
My name is Eileen. I'm a painter and I'm a teacher. I come from a long legacy of I'm ugly. And so this was a real challenge.
My name is Carolyn. I was diagnosed and treated for breast cancer. I was really looking to connect back to any form of life. And I mean the seat of power. You know, I'm talking about the real life force.
Every generation is represented in almost every class you'd come to. And it's a really wonderful thing to see every type of woman, every age, every shape, every ethnicity. Because what women experience in our culture is not unique to any particular generation, race, weight. We universally as women all have our challenges, and we all look in that mirror, and typically most women, when they look in the mirror, are not looking into that mirror and saying, wow, I really appreciate myself today and I really look beautiful. No one does that. People look in the mirror and pick at themselves. My hair doesn't look right. Oh, why did I wear this? I look old, I have wrinkles. And that kind of talk to ourselves, really, we do carry that into our everyday lives. It is what we project when we leave the house. So it's really important to become more aware and more conscious of the messages we're giving to ourselves. And so in class, you have an opportunity to sort of undo that kind of talking. And you have an opportunity to reinvent what you say to yourself. And we do it in a really fun, comfortable way. And it's with those first few steps of that reinvention that it's surprising, but your body starts to loosen up and you start to move in very sensual ways and your own uniqueness starts to shine through. And then when you look in that mirror, you start to see a really beautiful woman looking back at you. And it's very, very empowering and it's very freeing. And when you feel that way, you then are in a position to even appreciate and celebrate other women's beauty that are in the class. And that's a very powerful thing as well, to be supportive of other women and not to feel intimidated by them and to embrace all different ages, all different shapes and different sizes. So many people leave that class feeling really uplifted, really free, very powerful, and extremely confident in expressing their authentic self.
What I expected and what I got were two major different things. What I expected was basically a raunchy striptease place that's on Passyunk Avenue or something in Philly. What I got was totally different. What I got was a tool to utilize for me, that it's okay for me to have certain needs, wants, and desires that I kind of thought I had, but because of my upbringing, I wasn't allowed to even ponder. Phew, I can do it. You know, it's done. I got over my fear, and that was a huge fear. And I was slated to be the nun in the family, so that was a huge fear.
I could not stop talking about it. I just kept telling everybody, guess what I took? You know.
This is going to be something very new for me.
Okay.
Does your husband like women?
I think he would love it. You know, this is what I did. You have to do it. And they finally got tired of it and they said, let's do it. So I said, okay, we're gonna do it. This is way better than Tupperware. He felt good about me for 10 years. But after the video, I felt good about me.
I know it seems strange that an exotic dancing class can cause transformation for women, but there's something about movement into our sensuality, which we believe is at the essence of femaleness. A woman and sensuality go hand in hand. You almost can't have one without the other. I believe very strongly that a total woman is also a sensual woman. There's so many circumstances or situations in our culture that can block that feeling of sensuality, which is at the core and the root of being female. So whether it's because we're so busy, whether it's because of an illness, whether it's because of a husband or a relationship that we're in that maybe isn't the best for our self-esteem, whether we just simply don't have good self-esteem, whether it's watching television and being intimidated by what we see in magazines and on television and what we think our culture's telling us beautiful is. There's so many things that can possibly get in the way of us feeling sensual. So through this type of movement, you can't get away from feeling sensual.
Exotic dancing is, you don't know until you try it. It's a wonderful thing to have permission for women to feel sensual and sexy and be in love with their bodies and express it in a very human way and also in a very natural way.
Well, Keisha and I are both actresses, which is really what she walked out. But it's what brought us here, because at the school where we study, we're really all about opening up and expressing, and we're all in dance classes and voice classes and things like that. But this was kind of like exciting and different.
My name is Keisha Williams. I'm 28. Is that there's a certain quality that people have, and I had shut that off a long time ago, a very long time ago. And I call it my inner dork, because I always felt like that I was this 7th grader and I was all yucky and dorky and, you know, the braces and the teeth and the bad skin and everything that I was back then, and I never really shook it. And so here I am and still feeling that way. Like if I don't look in the mirror, that's how I picture myself. And if I'm in a crowd, that's how I picture myself. And so when I read the description of what this class was, I was like, oh, that's it, you know, finding that inner beauty, finding that sensuality. Yeah, this is the 2nd class I've taken. I came back, and it was because I had such a powerful experience, you know, that first one. It changed my life. And so I brought, you know, 20 of my closest friends. I feel like it's one of those things that nobody can tell you how pretty you are until you accept it yourself. It's like I couldn't accept myself as somebody that he would find sexually attractive, which is stupid because he's my husband. But I was always like, I bet he'd rather have somebody thinner, or I bet he'd rather have somebody different. And now I'm like, he's damn lucky. And he says the same thing. He's like, man, you're sexy. And it's like, what? Yeah, of course, we all are.
I think the most powerful part of class is the walking and eye contact. I think the body language portion of the class, how we communicate without words, goes far beyond dancing. In exotic dancing, we're dancing without words and expressing our sensuality. But learning how to express without words, which we do all day long, whether we know it or not, we do communicate non-verbally all day long. So having some practice in recognizing what it is we're communicating is a really valuable way to spend some time.